December 24th, 1971, 11:55 a.m., Lima, Peru. Julian and her mother, Maria, board LANSA Flight 508 bound for Pucallpa to meet her father for Christmas. The flight is turbulent from the start, but 20 minutes out, the Lockheed L-188 Electra enters a massive thunderstorm. Luggage tumbles from overhead bins as the plane drops vertically in air pockets. At 21,000 feet, a bolt of lightning strikes the right wing near the fuel tank. The disintegration is instant. The aircraft tears apart in midair. Julian hears her mother scream, "That is the end, it's all over," before the cabin floor rips away. The centrifugal force spins the row of seats like a maple seed. The spinning motion and the updraft from the storm likely slow her descent. She loses consciousness during the fall. She lands in the dense foliage, the three-seat bench acting as a buffer, cushioning the impact that should have killed her instantly. She has lost her glasses, one shoe, and her mother. Day 1, the morning after the crash. Julian unbuckles herself from the seat. Her collarbone is fractured, causing sharp, grinding pain with every breath. She suffers from a severe concussion and deep lacerations on her legs. She calls out for her mother, but the jungle absorbs her voice instantly. She finds a small bag of candy among the wreckage debris, her only food source. She begins to search the immediate area. She finds bodies, but not her mother. The dense canopy blocks out the sun, making navigation impossible. She remembers a crucial piece of advice from her father, a zoologist. If you get lost in the jungle, find water and follow it downstream. She locates a tiny trickle of water near the crash site. Her decision to leave the crash site is critical. Staying put offers a chance of being seen from the air, but the trees are too thick. Moving risks exhaustion and getting lost further. She chooses to move. She follows the trickle as it widens into a stream. The jungle floor is a tangle of roots and vines that tear at her one bare foot. Her mini dress offers zero protection against the swarm of mosquitoes that descends as evening falls. Days 4 through 9. The stream grows into a river, but the water brings new dangers. Stingrays lie buried in the riverbed, and caimans bask on the banks. Julian wades in the water to avoid the dense undergrowth, testing the ground with a stick to avoid the rays. The sun burns her fair skin, and the humidity is suffocating. Her bag of candy runs out on the 4th day. Hunger becomes a dull, constant ache, replaced by a terrifying thirst despite the surrounding water. The river water is unsafe, but she drinks it anyway. By day 7, the gash on her right arm becomes a living nightmare. Flies have laid eggs in the wound. Maggots hatch and begin burrowing into her flesh. The pain is excruciating, a constant sensation of being eaten alive from the inside. She hallucinates food and rescue, hearing phantom voices in the rushing water. She spots king vultures landing on a riverbank. She knows they only gather where there is carrion. She forces herself toward them and finds the bodies of 3 other passengers still strapped to their seats, rammed headfirst into the earth. The smell is overpowering. She realizes rescue planes have stopped circling. The jungle silence returns, absolute and terrifying. She is starving, infected, and partially blind in one eye. Her body begins to shut down. She drifts in and out of consciousness while walking, powered only by the mechanical instinct to keep following the water. Day 10. The river widens significantly. Julian spots something that doesn't belong, a boat moored near the bank. It looks like a mirage, but the wood is solid under her hand. Nearby, she finds a small, open-sided shelter used by lumberjacks. She is now in a state of advanced physical collapse. She cannot walk without support. While inspecting the hut, she finds a canister of gasoline. She recalls how her father treated a dog for a worm infection and realizes what she must do. She pours the gasoline directly into the open, infected wound on her arm. The pain is blinding as the fuel burns the raw flesh. The reaction is immediate. The maggots try to escape the fumes. Juliane pulls them out one by one with her fingers. She extracts 35 larvae from her own arm. The process leaves her trembling and exhausted, but it saves her arm from gangrene. She waits in the hut. She is too weak to travel further. The boat has no motor. She spends the night on the bare floorboards, listening to the jungle, wondering if the boat's owners will ever return, or if she has found salvation only to die of starvation waiting for them. Day 11, late afternoon. Juliane hears voices. They are not hallucinations this time. 3 men emerge from the forest, local lumberjacks returning to their camp. They stop dead when they see her. In her torn dress with swollen eyes and bloodshot skin, she looks like a Yemenja, a pale water spirit from local legend. Juliane gathers her remaining strength to speak. She switches to Spanish. "I am a girl who was in the Lanza crash. My name is Juliane." The men's fear turns to shock. They give her food, cassava and fish, and tend to her wounds. They pour boiling water over her arm to clean it further. The next morning, they take her downriver in their boat. The journey to the nearest station, Tornavista, takes 7 hours. Every vibration of the boat sends shockwaves of pain through her broken collarbone and infected wounds. At Tornavista, a pilot flies her to Pucallpa. She is reunited with her father. The medical assessment is grim: severe concussion, broken collarbone, deep gash on the right arm, torn ligaments in the knee, and severe insect bites covering her entire body. Doctors state that without the gasoline treatments and the lumberjack's arrival, sepsis would have killed her within another 48 hours. Juliane spends weeks in the hospital recovering from her injuries. The physical wounds heal, but the psychological scars remain. During her recovery, search teams locate the main crash site based on her information. They confirm that 91 people died. Juliane is the sole survivor. She learns that her mother survived the initial fall, but died days later from her injuries, unable to move. The experience defines her, but does not break her. Juliane goes on to study biology in Germany, eventually returning to Peru to conduct research on bats, following in her parents' footsteps. She becomes a relentless advocate for the Amazon rainforest. Decades later, she returns to the crash site with filmmaker Werner Herzog for the documentary Wings of Hope. She stands in the exact spot where she fell, surrounded by the same dense green silence. Experts still cite her survival as a statistical anomaly, a combination of the seat design, the updraft, the canopy cushion, and her specific knowledge of the jungle. She lives today in Munich, a quiet scientist who walked out of a green hell that swallowed an entire aircraft. She often thinks of the moment the plane broke apart, the last time she held her mother's hand.